In the 19th century, merry old England is more like filthy old England. And thanks to the practice of burning coal fires everywhere, its capital, London, is known as the Big Smoke. What odd job could combat all that grime? One whose only prerequisite is being a small child.
The job of chimney sweep has been mythologized over time. It's not that of Mary Poppins, of a dancing and singing middle-aged man.
This job is anything but that.
It's dangerous, it's dark, it's deadly, and it's not a job that Dick Van Dyke's Bert is ever going to get.
This is a job for children.
But how do children end up in this perilous profession?
It all goes back to the Great Fire of London, England in 1666, which totally guts the city. Because of this, building codes are changed and chimneys have to be built narrower than ever before. Also, new regulations requiring them to be free of obstruction are introduced.
For the next 200 years, the job of chimney sweep is employed solely by children. By 1841, there's nearly 5,000 of them working in this trade.
Where does one find all these hard-working kids?
The master sweeps buy young children between the ages of 3 and 10 from orphanages and give them the title chimney sweep apprentice.
The term apprentice really sounds like it's going to lead to something bigger. It doesn't. These are indentured servants, essentially, treated harshly and forced to work every day of the year except Christmas. The boys are shoved into the chimney from the bottom, and then from there they're forced to clamber up inside using these brushing and scraping tools to knock all the soot out from the lining of the chimney. And they climb back down, collect the soot pile, and then the master sweep sells that to farmers for fertilizer.
Sounds like a simple enough gig, but a quick glance at London's skyline in the mid-1800s reveals a daunting task.
So some of these chimneys are quite high, up to 60 feet. They're not just straight, they're built at angles. And because the openings are only between 9 to 14 inches, it's widely suspected that the master chimney sweeps are malnourishing the kids so that they can remain smaller and fit better inside the chimneys.
Unfortunately, hunger is not the worst occupational hazard.
The chimney sweeps suffer a lot of health problems as a result of the abnormal positions and cramped quarters in which they're working. These can range from deformed ankles or deformed joints, twisted spines. Oftentimes they'll have pulmonary problems because of the soot, and they can even go on to have cancer as a result of some of the materials that they're breathing in.
Not surprisingly, these dangers give some chimney sweeps cold feet.
If a child is reluctant to go into a chimney, the master sweep will hold a torch to their feet. If you want to know where the phrase "to light a fire under someone" comes from, that's it.
Fortunately, towards the end of the 19th century, the chimney sweep boy becomes a thing of the past, but not before one particularly tragic accident.
In 1875, a chimney sweep named George Brewster climbs into a chimney inside the Faubourg Hospital in Cambridge, England.
George is 12 years old, which, as we know, is already pushing it in terms of size compared to the other chimney boys in town. Shortly after entering the chimney, George gets stuck. There's a desperate rescue attempt. The chimney is broken into, walls are knocked down, but unfortunately, George is not saved.
George's tragic death does have a silver lining, though. It lights a fire, but this time under lawmakers' feet.
In September of 1875, a bill is pushed through Parliament which puts an end to the practice. And George Brewster is the last chimney sweep to ever die on the job.
While spending your days working in a soot-covered chimney isn't easy, there are filthier ways to make coin in Victorian London.
In this period, the River Thames is so polluted and so nasty that Parliament has to hang sheets soaked in chlorine over their windows so that they can conduct business without the stench. That same summer, ground is broken on an 1,100-mile sewer system in the city.
With progress comes new problems. people discover that they are dropping valuables down the drain from time to time.
Copper, silver, gold coins, jewelry, other valuables.
This opens a whole new job opportunity. For anyone willing to take on the task, they become known as toshers.
A tosher, or sewer hunter, makes a living trawling through Victoria-era sewers. They literally dig around in the wastewater, searching for anything valuable that might have been lost.
Men will go down with a lantern and a pan, much like you would pan for gold.
London is a 1,000-year-old city, and so sometimes they even find medieval and even Roman coins in the sewers.
Being a tosher is not the most upstanding job because it's illegal for people to go down into these sewers. Because of this, they don't want to be identified by their real names, and so they take on unusual monikers, often based on something about their appearance. Long Tom, Lanky Bill, One-Eyed George, Short-Armed Jack.
These aliases may protect them from the law, but not from other perils.
Toshers go out in groups because it's a very dangerous job. Some of them are overcome by noxious fumes. Some of them collapse and drown. Some of them step into sludge holes. And some of them just vanish, getting lost somewhere in the hundreds of miles of tunnels.
But that's not the worst part. The worst thing that they face are the giant sewer rats.
Toshers can actually get overtaken by swarms of man-eating sewer rats. Now, experts today tell us that rats very rarely attack humans, but we have records from toshers themselves who speak very vividly of rats attacking men.
With downsides like these, why take on the gig?
Toshers could make up to 6 shillings a day. That's about $200 today, making them some of the top earners among Victorian working class people. It's a surprisingly egalitarian work. At the end of each shift, toshers will gather everything that they've collected and divide the spoils equally.
But if you're looking for a more noble way to earn a living, here's one job that is considered very respectable.
In the history of jobs that revolve around scatological employment, the groom of the stool is an elevated position.
Why? Because the groom of the stool accompanies the monarch to their privy chamber and monitors their fecal output. Back in the Elizabethan and Tudor eras, the analysis of the colors of stool is critical into diagnosing the health of both the king and therefore the state.
Among other duties of the groom of the stool is to wipe the royal bottom and supply whatever His Majesty needs whilst using the chamber pot.
Despite the apparent unpleasantness of a job like this is actually one of the most prestigious positions a young man in the court could have.
This job is very sought after because it's a lot of one-on-one time with the most powerful person in the nation.
These people filled their entire lives with ceremony, with pomp and circumstance, all of which has dozens, if not hundreds of courtiers with them for all of those moments. So if you want to bend the ear of the monarch, you have picked the right job.
During the Tudor dynasty, the position is so coveted, it's literally to die for.
Henry VIII has a very trusted bottom tender, Sir Henry Norris, who is his groom of the stool.
The king shares all of his secrets with Norris, but Norris does not share his secrets with the king.
It's alleged Henry Norris has a romantic affair with Queen Anne Boleyn.
Henry Norris is put on trial for adultery, which is treason, and ultimately, in 1536, he's executed, just as the Queen.
This act of betrayal doesn't soil the career for everyone. A century later, in the 1640s, the king still relies on his right-hand man to perform his duties.
King Charles I becomes extremely close with his groom of the stool, William Seymour, 2nd Duke of Somerset. King Charles trusts Seymour so much that he makes him royal commander during the First Civil War.
During that time, parliamentarians, led by Oliver Cromwell, deemed the king a tyrant. And in the course of this war, Charles is actually tried for treason.
William Seymour is so loyal that he remains alongside King Charles following his captivity and right up until the king's execution.
The groom of the stool remains a coveted position in court until 1901, just a few years longer than I would have anticipated.